All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sekou's Bunch.
A lot of people would be scared here.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Live from our quarantines. No, I'm not quarantined yet.
I am.
yet.
You do that anyway.
That's a lifestyle, Isaac. That's not a choice. That's a lifestyle for you.
You want to hear my toe sucking impression?
Nope.
Okay.
I
go
want to
ahead.
talk about
Anyway.
Survivor.
Speaking about what Rob and Amber do on Edge of Extinction.
Don't say that.
A lot of people would be scared.
Welcoming back Gage and Monty, who were absent from last week. Pippa couldn't be here. She has coronavirus.
And by coronavirus, we mean RA duty.
Yeah,
Just as
she
bad.
might pop in the middle to give her opinions. But,
Inevitably
here
bad
we are.
opinion.
We need her this episode more than ever.
We need her.
I
Need
just
her.
realized Pippa jumped in halfway when we did the Amber boot, and now she's jumping in halfway through the Rob boot. She's just consoling herself.
Oh.
Yeah, she's preparing herself mentally.
Yeah.
So,
But with that being said, ding dong. The witch
is dead.
fucking dead.
mhm. Who said that? Somebody said that yesterday.
It's
Adam
Adam.
said it.
Adam said that in the preview. Yes. He had a point.
Adam, for once, made points and a good
Mhm.
move.
Could you imagine coming back to Survivor Winners at War and getting voted out by Adam, Ben, Sarah? Like, so I would take Sophie, but like the other three, like it's kind of embarrassing.
Can we
Adam
talk
and Ben, at least. Like, I would
Yeah.
not be able to live with myself.
I like Sarah.
Can we talk about in like Survivor lore, Boston Rob is quote unquote considered like or perceived as a legend, but he's now gone pre-merge 3 out of 5 times. Or pre-jury, he was merge boot in Marquesas.
Yeah. No one is ever going to actually accept that who is his fan base, but we can talk about that a little later in the episode if we
Yes.
want to start with the first sequence at camp. I can't.
Oof.
I'm blanking on how this episode started.
It's-
The one scene before the tribe swap where we got the Yule confessional.
With you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely an
was,
emotional moment.
Oh. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't
That
know
was
what else to
sad.
say
That was-
other than
Straight up sad.
yeah. I don't know what else to say other than like if you get on social media or like if you follow like the Survivor Twitter account and they showed like a little message from Jonathan and his wife, like basically in their room saying like thank you for like bringing awareness to this big charity event, and they had and his wife was sitting next to him and you could see like her, I think it was like a breathing tube and everything else. Like it really puts into perspective like what ALS does, which I'm very uninformed and everything else. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
did y'all not get that during like the broadcast itself?
I did, but like seeing,
Yeah, I did
but
too.
actually seeing his wife, that's what like
Yeah.
when it hit me.
It
more
is
than just-
very. I feel like it's very hard to see those people in those moments because, I mean, seeing anyone who's really in a near vegetative state is very jarring. Yeah, it's tough to watch. And Jonathan Penner, I mean, I've always loved Jonathan Penner. He was like one of my first favorites, like of the series period, because Cook Islands was one of my first seasons, and then I watched Micronesia right after, and I liked Penner a lot. Yeah, it's just I'm glad they're spreading awareness. I think it's important to know what the disease is, how it impacts people's lives. I mean, I legit looked it up after the episode to see like it's like I think it's always fatal, like every time, like usually within 3 to 5 years after the diagnosis. It's like the only way that his wife can communicate is through like doing things with her eyes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know this, but more times than not, the victim is still pretty conscious. Like, they know everything that's going on around them. So I can't even imagine that. But I thought it was a good way to start out just with a real human moment. I love Yule.
Mhm.
I mean, it was heartbreaking, but I think overall it's a positive message.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
else? We're on to the swap.
Nothing really on that. I just think it was a nice thing to have in the
Yeah.
episode, and I commend Yule and the producers
Yeah.
and editing for putting that in.
Yeah.
Basically.
It easily.
Sequence.
Yeah. I feel like it did replace Edge in a way.
Which is
Like,
fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
which I'm
don't need
happy
Edge.
about because production could have easily just like never aired anything that Yule said and just never done anything about it. But it was nice
Yep.
that they chose to do that. It was sweet.
Yeah, so if we wanted to move on, speaking of, we could quick talk about Edge or lack thereof.
Thank God.
I
Thank
mean,
God.
the only acknowledgement that we got was like Nick showing that he got the fire token from Tyson, and then almost kind of foreshadowing like the sequence of events and everything else. I did remember, and maybe this is a sign for what's to come. When Chris got voted out in Edge of Extinction, next episode was the tribe swap, and we still got an Edge of Extinction that episode, and we didn't miss that.
Yeah.
So, fuck those 5 people.
Yeah. I'm wondering if because Edge was such a big focal point last time, they were maybe trying to balance out. Be like, oh, we gave you almost 20 minutes of Edge content last time. This time we're going to give to the players. I'm like, good on them because they had to cover 3 tribes, which I think they did really well. This was a really good episode.
This was packed with a lot of stuff.
I had a lot of fun this episode. Oh, there was something else I was going to say quick. I know I'm talking a lot, but it's slipping my mind. I'm just glad Edge was not sure. Oh, Gage, you said about the foreshadowing of like, oh, Tyson and Nick may be working together. I actually wanted to mention, while I think that's a possibility, the fact that Nick's first content of the series, I think we talked about this the first podcast, was Nick like talking about the importance of fire tokens. And we saw him talk about the importance of fire tokens again this episode. Whereas when people are talking about the fire tokens, they're kind of just talking about how they're like pooling them. Like, it's really just very surface level stuff. But like, Nick is actually talking about how they could be important for him and like his social game down the line. Gage, you good?
I was just readjusting my pills, but we're all good.
Yeah. So did we want to move on to the actual swap?
Yeah, let's do swap.
Isaac, did you have any thoughts?
Nope.
Basically, all right. Swap it is. First thought about the swap. Why is the auxiliary tribe always green?
True.
No idea. I could have seen them doing a nice yellow.
A yellow would have been so fun.
Yellow would have been hot.
I thought they were going to do purple just because like the logo, the actual logo for the season is red, blue, and purple. So it's like I was waiting for the purple, and I was just like, ooh, it's going to look real nice. And then they did it.
Merge
Maybe
purple challenge.
They're going to be boring and do black.
I
can
know.
see it now.
Probably.
But still, merge try beat purple challenge.
So on New Sele, that was the Michelle and Wendell tribe.
Yeah.
I just want to get into that tribe right away because this is literally my favorite swap. This is my favorite swap tribe of all time.
That's so funny.
It's hysterical. Everything about this tribe is like just like situational comedy to a T. And I don't think they're ever going to tribal. I have a theory they're not going to tribal. They're just not.
Yeah.
Because
So does anyone have any thoughts? Yes.
I think Parvati and Michelle both survived the swap completely, but I also don't think any of the guys flip. And like the only way that happens is if they just don't go to tribal. So
Yeah.
I think that's right. But that was so watching like them like go up and talk to Yule and then talk to Nick and like be like, okay, like at least Yule and Nick are like acknowledging them and like being friendly. And then it's like she goes up to Wendell and Wendell just really said,
that was so irritating.
Yeah, it's literally so stupid to watch too. Like, I don't get it.
It's bad social game.
mm-hmm.
Gee, that's like what I was getting into.
Do you think he was just still flustered from the fact that like Michelle was on a beach with him and he was still just trying to like get his mojo back? I just try to think of shit.
I think when like maybe, but you walk up onto that beach day one and you see her there, you should be like already mentally preparing yourself to be on a beach with her at some point. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, I never thought this would happen. It's like, no, like at the very least, y'all are like statistically probably going to end up on edge together. Like, like more often than not. So like you're going to be on a beach with her at some point. So like,
yeah,
why is this?
I think he was just
like.
I think he was just being an ass about it. And like, I mean, none of us can claim to know what happened in that relationship. But
I didn't even know they dated until this episode. So
I didn't know they dated until like the preview of
Well,
last
according
week.
to him, they didn't date. So, like, what's the tea?
Literally, I mean, he implied he like, what was the word he used?
They
just kicked it.
Yeah, I was like, so does he think they didn't date?
I wonder how much of that is him trying to like hide pre-game connections from like production.
That's what I thought.
Which like would be stupid, but like that was my first reaction to that.
I mean, I didn't know this, but there are plenty of pictures of the two of them together, like that have circulated. So like, if he was trying to hide something from production, I feel like there was nothing to hide. Like, I mean, for like, I don't know, like there's literally a married couple. I'm just going to go back to that every time. There's a literal married couple. Like there's nothing to hide with your pre-existing relationships when you have a married couple on the island.
Yeah, and now like thinking about it, I don't know how much. I mean, granted, this is the hindsight that we've already seen what the edited episodes have already been. I mean, the literal premiere was circled around a poker alliance of around 3 people playing a poker game 5 years ago. Granted, maybe they didn't think that was going to make the edit, but you should probably see it coming.
Yeah. I mean, I do commend Survivor for finally owning that pre-existing relationships in returnee seasons do play a big role. Like, the example I always look back at is like the fact that they showed nothing of the weird JT and Sugar dynamic in the HBV premiere. Like, everyone's just always thought that's stupid that they didn't showcase that. An icon and one of my favorite players of all time. So
don't add her to the list. She's an icon and we love her.
Sugar's an icon and we love her.
I hope she's doing okay, but I just don't know who she is.
She is. I follow her Twitter and Instagram. She's doing fantastic, and she is beautiful.
Good.
Amazing.
Good. Survivor wants us to forget her so bad.
Yes.
The only other thing I can think of from this Blue Tribe, did it feel like not Michelle? Did it feel like Parvati was almost handing like her torch to Michelle?
Yes.
Michelle went up to Parvati. She's like, let's go like make the boys like as we go into the ocean. And it like cuts from Parvati to Michelle. And it's like, ooh, that was neat. I enjoyed that.
Michelle runner up, anyone?
I really love the Parvati Michelle dynamic. I didn't know if they were ever going to meet up on a tribe together before merge, given if they both made the merge, but I'm glad they did.
They were on the same starting tribe.
They were?
Yes, they were.
They fully were on the same starting tribe, Andrew.
I'm tired. But we didn't see them actually working together on the Starring Tribe.
That is true.
So, okay, I didn't know if I would have seen them work together before March. I promise.
We're just gonna
watched
hide.
this season.
We hiding.
Anyway, they're working together.
No, because I remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about how when Ethan left, like how the boot landed on Ethan, and like how we thought it was Michelle kind of protecting Parv a little bit because she wanted to work with her, like girl power sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that now that they don't have any other options, it's a great time for that. And I don't think it will turn into like we had to work together because there was no one else here. Like I could see those two actually working together after this.
Yeah. If it did end up being that, like, the vote did land on Ethan because Jeremy wanted the Rob Shield, Michelle wanted to potentially work with Parvati, then the fruits of Michelle's labor are currently starting to bear. And not Jeremy's, because Rob's just got voted out. So,
well, the fruits of our
What you
labor.
gonna do?
The fruits of our shouting.
yes.
All right. Anything else, Isaac? Anybody else from like this tribe?
No, I'm good.
If they do go to tribal, they're probably going to attempt voting out Parvati, so I just don't want to think about that.
Yep.
So, not going to think about it.
Let's just shut that off from our brain.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Parvati and Yule's relationship strained or something?
I don't know.
Because they had a very odd, even their interaction like this episode was just kind of like awkward and cold.
Yeah, she didn't know what his wife's name was.
I would not be surprised if they haven't talked in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I
That's
would
crazy.
not be surprised if like around Cook Islands, like maybe a year or two after Cook Islands was like the last time they spoke.
That's crazy.
Why?
That's what I was under the assumption of. It was just because they've not seen each other. Like I just think about the it wasn't a marooning this season, but like when they got off the boats, the men got off first, and then the women get off, and then you can hear Yule in the background go, "Welcome, welcome," and then like it cuts to Parv, and you can just hear Yule in the background go, "Parv." Like, you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that? Like,
Kind of.
The thing is like if they're the two, like, arguably two of the biggest characters off of Cook Islands, you'd think they would interact.
No.
You'd think.
I mean, does it fall under Yule's just generally falling off the radar for a while? Like, he literally talked to nobody?
Except Jonathan Penner.
yeah,
Except Jonathan Penner. Yeah, it's true. I don't know.
Jonathan Petter and that other guy that set him up.
Maybe Parvati stole money from him.
Fizzy lifting drinks.
Yeah.
Yule's wife
I don't know.
saw the scene where him and Ozzy went skinny dipping in that hot tub, and they said, "You don't talk to her ever again."
And Ozzy. She was like, you don't talk to Ozzy.
Yeah.
No, I could see a situation where like Parvati comes back from Micronesia and is just a lot closer to that cast and just sort of like doesn't really talk to Cook Islands people a whole lot anymore.
That's true.
And just sort of is like, well, this is my season.
That's fine. She didn't need to talk to the rest of the white people tribe anymore. Although she is very close to Nate Gonzalez, I'm pretty sure. But like, that's a...
Yes.
She's really close to Billy Garcia, from what I hear.
She's really close to Sekou
Candace.
Bunch, from what I hear.
And,
T.
us too.
Oh my god. Anyway.
I'm putting Billy Garcia on the list. I'm also putting Sekou Bunch.
No, you can't tell us until the end of the episode.
You can't
never
tell
mind.
us.
Well, so Sekou can never be an enemy by default, so a nice try.
Anyways.
It's just always.
Do
open
we
season on
want to
Sekou
move
Bunch.
on? What was the other tribe that didn't go to tribal? Was it? It was DeKalb.
Red.
Dick Hall.
So
Dick Hall.
new Dick Hall.
Miss Kim just suddenly got set up. She said,
Literally.
Kim
she
Spradlin
went
got
from
on
the
this.
bottom.
Miss
To the
Kim
top.
said, y'all better be jumping. And
Oh
the
my
whole
god.
boys jump quick.
the entire
Kim
time. Oh, go
doesn't
ahead.
give a fuck.
Gosh,
I
the
love
entire-
Kim. I want to just quickly mention how, and I tweeted this, I'm still standing by it. I am a homosexual.
No.
But watching Kim run up and just start chucking the sandbags was like the hottest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because they never let the women throw. They
It's
never let the
true.
women throw.
It's
And I was like, Kim has arms.
Kim has arms.
Shit, Kim got arms. Kim got those fucking Michelle Obama arms. Like, she was chucking those.
I thought you were gonna say when Kim approached Denise as soon as they got into Call Beach. I was like, oh, Kim is also our other lesbian for Denise.
She can be if we want her to.
No, that's Tony.
Yeah.
No, I just want to just manifest. I know it's never gonna happen because of Sophie, but I want those two, Kim and Denise and Sophie, to like make a 3-person alliance, but Sophie won't. Sophie won't go for that.
No.
But I like want it to happen.
It'd be fun.
Just because of like 23, 24, and 25, just like all together.
No. And they all have idols.
And they all have idols now.
So fucking
The 23, 24,
crackheaded.
25 have idols.
Well, I'll get to that. I have a question or a good discussion point to bring up about the configuration of this tribe. So we have, what do we have? Tony, Sandra, Jeremy, Denise, Kim. So we have Sandra, who is a temporary idol that expires the next time she goes to tribal council. We have Kim, who has a regular hidden immunity idol. We have Denise, who has a regular hidden immunity idol. And we have Jeremy, who has a skip a tribal.
Safety without power.
So the thing I was going to bring up to you guys, or like wanted to have a discussion about, if production knows they're going to swap into these smaller tribes and they're just going to force all the advantages out in the beginning, because this is what seems like is going to happen now every season at this point, should they just not swap into smaller tribes to prevent another advantage get-in, or do you think they want another advantage get-in?
Oh, they want one.
They want one. Because I was thinking about this a little. I was like, oh, they're putting in all of these advantages so that they could potentially flush a bunch of them out at a advantage get-in, and then they will restock at the merge.
That's stupid.
Which I hate,
seriously
That's stupid. I forgot about Jeremy's safety without power.
Yeah,
'Cause,
like like literally, what could happen is like I could see Kim siding somehow with like Jeremy and Denise, or something weird happens where Jeremy still skips tribal, Kim still goes with Denise. They vote for Sandra. Sandra plays her idol. Kim and Denise play whatever just because they're paranoid, just to get on the immunity train, and then Tony gets fucked over. Like
I hate that.
I hate it.
That would
like,
suck because they'd be
it's kind
sending
of
home.
hot.
They'd be sending home again, though, like how Suri got advantaged out. They'd be sending home one of, like, the top contender big dogs right now.
Yeah, but Suri was likable.
I think it
I'm
would
kidding.
be a little.
Tony likable as fuck right now. So.
I think it would be a little ironic if Idol King Tony gets advantage get into out, but I don't want to. But I don't want to see it happen because it would be an advantage get in.
Yeah, I feel like production. Sorry, go ahead.
I do solely because I don't want to see Andrew be right.
Yeah, literally, Tony making merch. Y'all better eat some shit with your words.
He said, "Eat it."
Eat it.
I don't have much from this tribe.
I do, because I think the fact that Tony and Sandra are together is hysterical. Just because, like, the fact that they've been working together is so fun.
The fact that Tony, I'm gonna extend this to Sarah too, but that he's worked with like two of his like biggest face rivals from his 2 seasons, I think is just.
I think that shows
a lot of laughs.
I also think it shows major adaptability on all 3 of their parts. I mean, we already knew the 3 of them are all really adaptable players, but like I think this just brings it home, the fact that like they are all genuinely working together. Like none of them have really had a confessional at this point where they're like, oh, this is fake, or oh, I'm planning on turning on this person. Like, Sarah is always going to be a flaky player, but I feel like Tony and Sandra genuinely could be in it for the long haul if they can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because they finally took what they had in the premiere of Game Changers that was all BS, where they were like, oh, we could be each other's shields, but it was BS, and they're actually running with it.
Yeah.
So I like it.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that duo.
Maybe
I like
so.
that duo a lot. Yeah. I'm just worried if they do go to tribal, I mean, Kim probably... Do we agree Kim almost definitely flips?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
And
don't see-
Sandra is already immune because
Yep.
it's the last time she can play it. So, who's dying between Tony, Jeremy, and Denise? Is basically
Do you
what's gonna come.
think there is an instance where Tony and Sandra know Kim is flipping, so they try to vote out Kim, and Sandra plays her idol, but Kim thinks, like, oh, they're going to be voting, like, Denise or something, so then Kim gets voted out with an idol in her pocket? Because I feel like Kim... I just don't...
Maybe if they went to Jeremy. Like, they went to Jeremy and said Kim and Denise are now closer than you two, and Jeremy wants Tony and Sandra as meat shields because he's going to see that Rob is voted out.
Maybe.
I still think that's like more. I feel like an advantage getting is more likely though.
I think so,
I
too.
hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah,
Who
I
knows?
think we just need to mentally prepare for advantage. Get in the next episode or two.
Yeah.
If it takes out Tony, I am sending hate mail to Jeff
You're
Probst.
sending anthrax
Right.
to Jeff.
You're
Probst.
sending coronavirus.
I'm gonna get coronavirus, cough into a box, and send it to Jeff's P.O. box.
Oh, wait, maybe. Hold on, I'll
gonna
try. Never mind.
Fucking melt the Botox out of his face.
Oh my god! Does he actually have Botox?
Yes!
He has a lot of
literally-
Botox.
How do you
About
look?
it in one episode?
He looks exactly the same as he did like 15 years ago, 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
That
I
man's
just thought he
face
aged
doesn't
well.
move.
There's
No.
What is it? There's an episode. It's Worlds Apart throwback where Shireen's at tribal council and she just starts laughing out of nowhere, and Probst looks at her like, "What the fuck?" And Shireen's just like, "You're just smiling at me," or like something like that. And Jeff's like, "Do I look weird? Is it the Botox? Did it not set in?" Like,
Yeah, Jeff was like, is the Botox not working?
yeah.
Please
Did
do
not
so.
know he had a Botox. Thank you for sharing, everybody.
You're welcome.
No.
Yeah. The more you know.
We're getting copyrighted.
Shall we move on?
Yes. Let's get
We
to
should-
the.
Yara Sophia.
Yara.
No, I don't want to give Yara Sophia that shout out. She's crazy.
Oh my god!
Have you seen her Twitter?
No.
This
No,
isn't-
but we'll talk about it after the show.
This isn't a Drag Race podcast,
I'm
but
just
I will send you to Yara
Reddit,
Sophia's
you ain't gonna
Twitter
get me,
after this.
honey.
Sekou's bunch ends up in one of those drag race edits talking about like
Oh my
some
God,
queen tea.
Jake Yonsei is like
Jakey Yonsei?
Jake Yonsei with his ugly fucking eyeglasses is just.
Put him on the list. Put him on the damn list.
I don't know who that is.
Yara, aka
AKA Sophie's bitch.
aka
Yeah.
Sophie's bitch, aka also a very funny tribe in its own respect.
With the boys.
the boy.
That
Sophie and the
Couldn't-
boys.
the three of them being on a tribe, like, you can't write this shit.
They were the equivalent to like that The Office episode where it's like, I don't watch The Office, but like it's Steve Carell and Dwight where they're all three of them in a circle and they all have their guns pointed at one another. That was literally Adam.
Yeah.
and Rob.
Yeah.
That was a gay reference.
Across the entire game, we just got like the funniest tribe swap scenarios possible.
Mhm.
Just like all three of them.
His
The
fan
swap
fiction-
was beautiful.
It's
And then
so good.
initially, I was like bummed that Rob and Sandra weren't on a tribe together, but like Rob got voted out and Sandra didn't need to lift a finger.
It's true. You know, she manifested that from DeKalb Beach.
She sure did. She was like, Tony, say this ritual with me.
Let's sacrifice this goat.
Literally.
Yeah.
Let's sacrifice the goat that we found 6 seasons ago.
God. Okay, so before we went to the immunity challenge when we got to Yara, basically it was just all about the idol search. And then we see Sophie find the idol. And this is what I wanted to talk about as well. So we see Sophie find the idol. You have to give it to somebody. Also, fun fact, I found out about this like 45 minutes before Tribal. You know how we talked about a few podcasts ago, if you could like share the piece or connect it with somebody that had like, if it had to be the same color or if it could be a different color, like from a different tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the parchment, it says you can share it regardless of color. So she could go to Kim or she could go to Denise.
Wow.
I will send a screenshot in here, actually. I think I have it. I'll send it in the chat. But the thing I wanted to talk about was she decided to share it with Sarah. And
Mhm.
I was kind of shocked she shared it with Sarah. Like, I get it, just because they came from the same tribe, you don't have anything else. But in, like, the hindsight of everything, that's my... I say hindsight bias way too much. But should she have shown, like, Adam or Ben, got their trust, and then had them flip over? Or do you think that's too risky?
I think it's too risky.
I think it's too
Mhm.
risky at this point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially with them like all talking about how ratty the others were, like to them as soon as they got there.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Like, that first conversation was all the guys being like, listen to all that shady shit we've done in the past 12 days. Like, ha ha,
Yeah.
ha ha.
I
If-
want to mention. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
No, you can go.
Yeah, you can go.
I want to mention. This is probably nothing, but I thought it was cool that Sophie found the idol to Boston Rob narrating. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
that was cool. I like that. I don't know.
That was some hot narrating. When
It
she
was
like,
cool.
and like her grabbing it was like a blink and you miss it thing.
Yeah.
Like it was very, very fast, and it was
And then
still
she
to
put it
Rob's
in her
voiceover.
cooch.
Mhm.
And then she put it in her
And then-
cooch.
And then, open your purse, part 2.
Yeah.
And she hit it again.
Which I do want to comment on. Like I was gonna say the same thing. Like I agree. Like Sarah and Sophie knew right away. Like we're probably safe if we go to tribal because these three boys are not going to work together. So I feel like it was probably best to show it to Sarah. And Sophie did say, or I can't remember if it was Sophie or Sarah, but they were just like talking about how DeKalb, what was left of DeKalb, had vibed really well with each other. So I can't say I'm super surprised. Like Sophie and Sarah probably had a general good enough relationship just from the fact that DeKalb was like enjoying each other. And then Sophie was probably like, I saw it as like really solidifying the relationship. Like those two are going to be together now. I think they're both intelligent enough to understand that they can work well together, at least for now.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of it. What I want to talk about from this tribe is the buddy system 2.0.
I just think it's wild that they actually acknowledged that that bullshit on Redemption Island was in fact bullshit.
Yes.
Like,
Boston Rob wanted what Garrett Adelstein has. That's all I have to say.
I was thinking about this the entire time because I literally that's one of the funniest fucking moments of the entire show.
I just think it's really silly.
I have a video of it saved on my Snapchat that just came up in my memories recently, where Garrett's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. And then Tasha just goes, then quit. And then Gareth just goes, like, his eyes just fucking, he's shocked. It's so funny. Like, literally,
Crack ass green tribes just
But
with
dead ass.
sitting doing nothing. Like, Sarah, go pour out the rice already. Like, come on.
But we did see Boston Rob's eyes bulge out as soon as Sarah and Sophie got up to go get water from the well. He sat up and went, "Huh?"
he sat up real quick.
Yes, he did. I'm surprised he didn't chase them down.
Understand.
I'm
He
surprised.
probably thought it wasn't worth it. But,
Yeah.
like,
Wow. I think I feel like his main goal was keeping the three guys together, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, if Sarah and Sophie go off by the two of them, like, all right, we know they're not here.
Are we under the assumption that they probably decided to vote out Rob before Rob did the buddy system? Like, Rob was just already out, like, day 12, day 13, before they even lost the immunity challenge? Is that what we're assuming at this point, or no?
Okay. So, like, I think it's a reasonable assumption to take it there, yeah, because like he is the biggest threat in the game, and DeCall was like basing their decisions, like Amber and his other wife, on like his connections because they wanted to get Boston Rob out. So I think like with that group of people, his days were numbered from the start. But I do think the buddy system, like him trying to pull that shit, I do think it solidified that it's gonna be him.
I would not be surprised if he didn't do the buddy system if he goes 3-2 instead of 4-1. I would not be surprised.
Who do you
if,
think
like,
votes with him?
I think that's a toss-up, but I would not be surprised if, like, Adam.
Well,
like,
Adam.
you know what?
I
we
think
could
we
just,
have to remember, though, that, like, Ben and Adam are working together, are gay, and are working together. Like, I mean, Ben, Denise, and Adam were kind of trying to be, at least Adam and Denise were a duo. Ben was trying to get in on it. Like, I feel like Adam and Ben are working closer than it was kind of shown this episode. I think their tribe was kind of edited as like Ben and Adam kind of got under-edited during the strategizing because the viewers were kind of left to wonder who they were going to side with.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the edit really fell on, like, Rob getting his... Because there's no way they could have a Rob boot episode without throwing him in our faces. And also, Sophie being the main focal point, because Sophie and Rob had the most confessionals with 6 each.
Yep.
Wow. It's what she deserves.
Isaac.
I will say I was kind of shocked that they were like, "Oh, let's run out Sarah over Sophie." For some reason, I was just like,
So, go ahead, Isaac. I'm sorry.
No, I was done.
I was just gonna say that's why I was under the conspiracy that like they'd already decided before, because there's already a sequence before where they showed Adam and Sophie being closer. Adam was the one that threw out Sarah's name, so I was just like, oh, then maybe they're just throwing out a name to have a name in case Ben or something loopy happens, and then it went from there.
I assumed it was just like Sarah is the bigger threat out of the two of them. They were just like, I just assumed it was like, let's just pick off Sarah now because Sarah is such a force in the game. They don't really know enough about Sophie yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All they know is she's fake being religious. She's a good actress.
What I thought was funny was that like I know obviously they need a reason to boot someone, but it's like Sarah's not bad at challenges. Like she's a very good challenge player, and they're like she's bad at challenges. Like let's get rid of Sarah. She's not been performing, and I was like, first of all, she was on the Braun tribe, and which was pretty good at challenges. Second of all, she won a couple individuals in Game Changers. Like,
I think she won 0. I don't mean to be a dick, but I think she won 0.
Did she?
Well,
I can't remember.
I thought she
Third
did.
of all, I'll piggyback on you. Third of all, she came from DeCall, who won how many challenges where these boys have lost like 900? Like,
Agree.
Shit.
sits. Like, I don't think Adam Klein has like. I don't think he should have the gall to like attack anybody with a challenge performance when it took him 9 tries to get those balls off those hooks last episode. So like, shut up and sit down. You know, like it's.
And it took him 30 minutes to get the stick in the hole.
Can we talk about how
Couldn't find
Sarah
the
the
hole.
entire time was talking about the buddy system and like how it just creates like this rigidity, and Sophie just has to stand there and sit as she remembers being in an alliance called the Family that used to just pray together.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, I feel like this is the general consensus of literally everyone who watched last night. Even some Boston Rob supporters I saw on Twitter were just like, that wasn't it, Chief. Just Boston Rob's logic with this was... So basically his rhetoric with Ben and Adam was like, the three of us really need to trust each other. So what I'm going to do is make all of us sit in a sandbox together for 6 hours because I don't trust you enough to go off with the girls. Make it make sense.
It doesn't. It straight up
It
doesn't.
I don't know if... Do you think Rob came in with... Like, I'm prefacing, I don't have an answer to this. Do you think Rob came in at a little bit of a disadvantage, having come from such an easy win in Redemption Island with, like, he was playing with literal zombies and very little actual competition, that he came into this thinking that he could do this again, not taking into account the caliber?
No.
I
And
think he
the
was
reason-
desperate. Right.
Yeah, I think he was desperate. I don't get how you can.
Okay.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm like, I don't. If let's say Boston Rob supporters are saying that like as like an excuse or whatever, like, oh, he wasn't adjusted to the caliber of this cast. He literally just got done mentoring a season of all newbies 3 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
where the newbie who won never even needed his mentoring. So
T.
he
Yeah.
knows what this cast is, and in comparison, a lot of the winners that were cast for this season were quote unquote new school like players. So that's not his fault for not adapting. He should be able to adapt, especially if we're going from an edit perspective, which this edit the entire time is talking about how you need to be fluid and not rigid. Like,
Yeah.
don't stick to one thing, you need to be able to jump
And-
around.
Yeah.
I do want to add to that, like, it's not even that he's just playing with high caliber players. He's playing with super fans who not only know his game and the games of everyone else, but called out his game of, like, corralling and, like, we're, like, being passive aggressive about that strategy of, like, basically giving, like, the nonverbal cues that, like, yeah, this might have flown with, like, the brain dead newbies in Redemption Island, but, like, that's not flying here.
Yeah. Straight up.
Maybe he saw how poorly Adam played on Saylight last episode and was like, are these new schoolers fucking stupid? And
I
then
thought you meant on
forgot that
Millennials versus Gen X. And I was
Yeah.
like,
And I was gonna agree with you.
Yep.
I think Hannah should have won. I'm the biggest Hannah Shapiro defender of all time. Fight me. So
Well-
both are correct. They can exist simultaneously.
yeah, just anyone but Ken McNichol, but, you know, that's for another... Anyway,
But he's so beautiful.
he's so hot. Anyway,
But he is so stupid. No, I'm sorry. Anyway,
Isaac, down boy. So,
put him on the list.
Boston Rob goes home.
God.
He gets to see Amba.
Do you guys have any
Gets
thoughts?
to
on
suck her
the
toes.
Oh, yes. Do you guys have any
Isaac,
thoughts on the tribal council in particular? 'Cause I just
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry. Can I go first about this? Because
Yes.
I've had a point all day about how masterclass Sophie's performance was at this tribal council. Like, ugh, I did not watch the entire episode again, but I watched the tribal council again just because I was like, love Sophie Clark so much. But specifically, like the rhetorical strategy of reframing, I think in Survivor is really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
And the way, so basically to recap what happens, Jeff asks Sophie about finding cracks in an alliance, and Sophie immediately, without skipping a beat, is just like, says how it's not about finding cracks and she doesn't like that, and how it's about like building something new. I can't remember exactly how she put it, but just the way that she framed it, I think was so important, because I think she's 100% right. And this is like, when you are a player in the minority looking for cracks and you are openly expressing, like at like a tribal council, like, I'm looking for cracks in this alliance, I think there are some cracks here, I'm trying to exploit them, it very much comes from a self-preservation standpoint. And I feel like players in the majority that you were trying to find cracks in could feel devalued by that, and that could give them less inclination to side with you.
Yes.
So framing it in a way that's like, it's not about cracks, it's about building and cultivating something new with these players is really important, because it makes those players, in this case Adam and Ben, feel important and valued, and not like they're just cracks in an alliance that are being exploited by the minority for the minority's self-preservation. Sorry, that was a really long. I thought about that a lot today, but I think it's like the most important part of the episode.
No, agreed. Like, just to reiterate, like, Sophie, let's be real, Sophie is trying to find cracks. She literally said in the very first confessional, when she got onto Yara, like, verbatim, there are cracks up the wazoo. And then, when you get to Tribal Council, which, let's bear in mind, Tribal Council is theater, you're literally just trying to put on a facade, a show, etc. Usually when Jeff Probst narrates Tribe Swap episodes, he never puts it in the perspective from the people on the bottom. He always reiterates, like, the people on the bottom are trying to find cracks, which indirectly puts those people on the bottom in negative connotations and may just reaffirm those people that are in the majority to stay strong, indirectly influencing how Tribal Council may go. So, like, it's so important that, like, that takes place and that happens to at least neutralize that possible issue if Tribal is live. So, like, long story short, maybe the god Sophie wasn't worshipping in South Pacific was herself. Maybe we should
could see that. I mean, yeah, you're right, because the fact that whether she believed what she was actually saying or not when she was reframing, it's very important, because I feel like she definitely was probably sugarcoating and lying about it not being cracks for the sake of this entire grand scheme to get Adam and Ben to feel comfortable enough working with her and Sarah. So that was my thoughts on that. I just thought that was beautiful.
Can we talk about how after 15 seasons, we indirectly got a reference to Angie Layton's "That We Could Have Cookies"? That was my favorite moment from the entire episode.
That was so fun.
When Probst was like, "So you guys sat at camp and talked about cookies?" I just thought of Angie Layton's big ass grin.
We could have cookies.
And
we
then,
could have cookies.
And then Jeff Probst finally retiring from Survivor, and they have to find a new host. And then Angie Layton trying out, and like they like interview her, and they're like, "Angie, why do you think you could do this?" She's like, "Well, I did track in high school." Like, I miss Angie Layton so much, and I've been thinking about cookies all day. Like, I'm so happy.
Angie Layton not being on the Second Chances ballot was a crime.
Was it?
Tragic. It was tragic.
She was supposed to be. She got cut last minute, if I remember correctly.
Good.
I think she was like in contention. Yeah, I could be wrong on that. Like, I don't know. Isaac, do you have any more thoughts from Tribal Council or anything like that?
Yeah, Sophie, not to be like straight or anything, but like she was really pretty first. Like, and that's the only thought I had was that she looks
Yeah.
really good in blonde hair.
That's key.
I still stand by Sophie's. That one picture of Sophie from like the promotional pictures was like the most gorgeous picture out of. I mean, this is a hot cast, but like the most gorgeous. At least the females. I don't know. Yule's hot. Jeremy's hot.
Michelle had
Men.
Michelle's black and white and like
Michelle's
Kim's
black and white. But that one picture of like it's like torso up and like she has her hands on her hips is just like the most stunning picture ever. I just love Sophie Clark.
I love Sophie. And I love that she's finally getting the content and edit and recognition she deserves in this season.
How many episodes in are we? We're technically 5 episodes in, and I think she is almost. She's like less than 10 confessionals away from her total count in South Pacific.
If Sophie wins this season, we should change her name to Sophie Clark's Colt or just something like that.
Sophie Clark's what?
Colt.
Colon.
Oh.
Colin.
Sophie's
Also,
cult.
Can we talk about when they finally got up to vote and he goes, all right, it's time to vote. Sophie, you're up. And then you just hear this fucking screech of like string instruments.
That was pretty. I wanted to talk about that too.
Oof.
Sorry, go.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it scared the shit out of me, and I had my headphones on. I had to throw it off during the episode.
That voting music was hot. Like
It was the same. It was the same music they used in the background when Michelle got like her mastermind edit from Ethan's vote out, like right before. It was that same background.
I don't remember, but it was hot.
I love it. I love Sophie. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
Sophie support blog.
I also realized we didn't talk about the challenge, but this challenge kind of sucked.
The challenge was not.
We talked about Kim. That was the only part of that challenge that mattered was Kim just rocketing sandbags.
I had one note from the challenge, and so if you do a rewatch, I would do it, or at least just skip to the very end. So you see, like, Saleh solve the puzzle first, like, they get it, like, pretty easily, and then you see Nicole, like, start doing it, and they solve it on accident. They just put 2 blocks on top of one, and they're like, okay, and then Jeremy's like, oh, that's it, and they run back, and they got it right. Which, I don't know if that was apparent on the first watch, but I went back on a rewatch, and I thought that was, like, hilarious.
I think I just zoned out after Michelle and Parvati's tribe won, because that was the tribe going in that I was like, I was like, if Saleh or Dakal loses, I was going to be really upset. So I actually went in wanting Yara to lose, because I figured they were going to vote out Rob. So I kind of zoned out after Michelle was safe.
The only other thing I had in my notes was the next time on Survivor sequence, if you guys wanted to talk about that. Because the only thing I had in my notes...
Ding dong, the witch is dead. The music, was that an original... Was that a Survivor original track? They added...
Just for this season.
Just for this season, yeah. They were like winners at war lyrics. I was like, oh my god.
Yes.
Have Sia sing it.
They should have had Sia sing it. And then they said 2 tribes are going to tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got real confused because we always have the question, is it 2 tribes that are actually going, or is it like the joint tribal? And then... Go ahead.
I assume it's a joint.
I don't think it is, because whenever I went back and watched the Game Changers one, they say 2 tribes are going to tribal council. And I could be mistaken, I watched it like 2 times. But when Jeff said it in the preview for next episode, he said both tribes are going to vote somebody out.
Yeah,
and
which could mean... That could still mean, though, I feel...
The joint.
Like, yeah, it could still point to it being a joint tribal. I could see them doing it for time constraint reasons when it comes to the weeks. But, like, if they're going to try to pack the 2 tribal councils, whenever they try to pack 2 tribals into 1 hour, it's just...
It's like too much.
Like, the last time they did it was in Ghost Island, right? Like, I don't remember anything from that episode because it was just,
They did it.
like...
So
They did it
last
last
season.
season.
Aaron and Missy.
Yeah, well, Aaron and Missy.
Yeah.
The only thing...
I don't even remember what happened in that episode. I feel like it's just too short.
Well,
Yeah.
at some point, they're probably going to have to because we have Edge of Extinction and 20 people.
Ugh.
So, like, we're technically going to have, like, 22 eliminations at some point. So, like, not 22
Wow.
eliminations, but, like, this is going to be the most vote outs in a season ever. Unless they have, like, a Final Four.
19, right?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
quits.
Jesus.
So, like-
It might be 2 tribes vote somebody. They both vote a person out then, which is going to suck because that means basically a 2
Yeah.
out of 3 shot we're losing Parvati.
Yeah. Or Tony.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't like that.
Oh,
But then we
Advantage
merge
Gathering could
next
happen
episode.
next week.
Ooh,
It could
Oh.
happen next week. Yeah.
Ben and Tony out, please, God.
No. Just
Please.
Ben. Literally just Ben. Actually, I do want to mention something really quick.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I thought about this for a split second. As Rob was getting his torch snuffed, I was kind of like, what would I be thinking in this moment if I was Rob getting voted out? And my first thought was Amba, and then my second thought was thinking, like, I don't know, because I assumed Rob was going to stand up and make some shady comment about it, but he didn't. And then I was thinking, like, what did those 4 do if they go back to tribal council? Like, is Sarah going to have to...
Yeah,
Is it gonna
Sophie
be a
and Sarah are
2-2?
gonna stomp them.
and Sarah steals a vote? Are they going to flip Adam or Ben on the other one?
I think Isaac's right. I think it's either like Sarah, Sophie in the middle, Adam, Ben are going to target one another, or Adam, Ben are going to stay rigid, and then Sarah's going to steal a vote. Like, I think the girls are safe.
I think the girls are safe too. It's just, I mean, Sarah was so adamant about keeping her steal a vote as long as possible, and she might have only milked having it for one more tribal if those 4 do go to tribal council next.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say.
When we're done talking about everything in the episode, I have some things to say.
Well, I was going to mention quick about who we think are still up there for winner contenders.
Michelle.
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 At this point, I think it's like Sophie, then like large gap, Michelle, Yule. That's
Tony, I
about it,
think,
honestly.
still up there if he can
Tony's
get through
still up
Advantage
there.
Get In.
Mhm.
If he can get
I
through
agree.
Advantage Get In, I think he's still up there, but I do see him
Sandra.
going in an
Yeah.
Advantage Get In. But if he doesn't, he's up there for me.
Adam.
I would say, yeah, like the solid 4 for me are, and I wouldn't even say any real particular order right now because I feel like the tribe swap scrambled things so much, but I would still say Michelle, Tony, Sophie, Yule. I would maybe put I would put those 3 over Yule a little bit. But I wouldn't know how to rank Sophie, Michelle, and Tony.
I would.
Sarah,
With Tony on the bottom.
Shut the fuck up. I would say Sarah is climbing for me. I was not sure about Sarah for a bit, but she's getting a really consistent, good edit. And it's not one that's too in your face. Like, she gets the important content when she needs to. She hasn't been, like, the main character of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of modern day Survivor editing, that's really important. Like,
Okay.
The only time
what was that?
the only time she was the focus of something, like the focus, was when she was getting her advantage. And that's
Yes.
like, she kind of had to be. Like, anyone would have been the focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sarah's just Sarah's just a good ass player. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she takes it again at this point. She's just
I
good.
So I think Sarah had just based off her edit, I think she has propensity to go deep again, but I don't think she's winning just based off the sole fact that if we're already trying to set up a narrative, especially for a female, let's when Sarah won Game Changers, I think she did get the most confessionals that season, but she's not a good narrator, she's not very dynamic, and Sophie was very under edited in her win. If they were
Mhm.
trying to set up possibly one of those two to as a potential winner, they set up Sophie this episode. Sophie narrated that tribe.
Yep.
Why
No,
not
this
give it to
was-
Sarah if Sarah was going to win over Sophie?
Well, I mean, I think that'd probably go to the purpose of, like I said, the modern Survivor editing. A lot of the time is hiding the winner early on by making them very an in between of middle of the road and complex personality. If we're talking Edgic, I feel like they did that with Tommy. I feel like they did that with Chris doesn't count, but I feel like they did that with Nick. I feel like they did that with Wendell. I feel like they did that with Ben. The pre-merge, if there is a label for in between middle of the road and complex personality, then that is where they have put every single modern winner. Even Sarah, when she won Game Changers, I would say it's been like that since Sarah. And the one
Adam,
I feel
too.
right now, no, Adam was pretty
Adam was
visible.
a little more, yeah.
So
And
I feel
Michelle
like it's
was a
been
little less.
since Sarah. It's they give the person a healthy amount of content, but they are not the main character.
Mhm.
And right now, Sarah fits that bill the best. So maybe that's just where I'm coming from with it. It doesn't mean that the trend holds true, but it's just what I'm kind of getting at right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, based on history.
Yes. Monty, did anyone else have anything to say before Monty had his things he wanted to talk about? Nah, okay.
No? Well, basically, just news in the Survivor community. Production has been postponed for season 41 for
Yes.
a couple months due to Corona time.
I think it's
Sad.
just 41's gonna, at the time, or I think projection wise, is 41 is gonna film when 42 was supposed to film,
Mhm.
And
then
42.
possibly right after.
Yeah, they did say that the way that they have it postponed now, they're still set for the September air date, but that's
Yeah.
if this postpone doesn't go any further.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would be the same turnaround that Cambodia had.
Cambodia.
That would be
Mhm.
the same turnaround schedule, which is doable. We've seen it happen. Cambodia was a great season, but
Yeah.
if it goes any further, I don't think we're getting a season.
Yeah. It's pretty
So
sad.
that's
I mean,
fun to think about.
if I was, I can't imagine being a player, being so excited to go out there and then being told, sorry, we're postponing it.
Yeah.
But it's just too big of a health risk. So much of their production team has always been a lot of international people. It just there's no way they
Yeah.
should do it. So
Yeah.
sad.
It's sad. But it's safe. We hope everyone's safe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dr. Joe can't take care of them all, but he is hot. What? Anyway,
Isaac said he's putting Andrew on the list for that comment.
Literally.
Dr. Joe's hot. Fight me.
I will.
So if we had nothing else to say, we want to wrap up.
Enemies and shout outs. That's all we
Yeah, we want to do our shout out, random player shout out for the day. we did decide pre-podcast that we are going to give it to Jonathan Penner. Already shouted him out before, basically, but just a solid fucking dude all around, going through a lot, being very supportive of his wife during this time, and we just love Jonathan Penner and his wife and family and wish them the best. So, yes.
Yes. Stan Jonathan.
Stan Jonathan Penner.
Isaac, do we have a fun list?
Do we have a list
Oh, yeah.
of enemies?
Yes.
Who would we piss off today?
Wendell Holland, Billy Garcia,
Oh.
Tony Vlachos, Yara Sofia,
Flacos.
Yeah, so.
Jake Yonsei, Sophie's Cooch, Garrett Adelstein, Ben, Adam, Ken McNichol, and Andrew Gentile.
You forgot Angie Layton. I'm not.
I did put Angie Layton on there, but then I marked her out because I was like, I don't know, y'all kind of complimented her a lot.
Angie Layton,
Yeah.
Arisher. I will not appreciate it.
Angie Layton, please sponsor our podcast.
Angie Layton,
Give us cookies.
please
Give
punch
us
Gage
cookies.
in the face.
Give us cookies.
Anyway, Pippa did not manage to make it, although I'm sure she would have held a big funeral procession. I'm not going to, so
Maybe it's for the best.
I'm gonna dance on that grave.
yeah, I'm literally.
My
I'm
grandma
a
clapped
skip
when you got voted
funeral.
out.
Oh, I love your grandma.
She
My
said,
mom.
yes.
My mom was so happy. My mom, leading up to tribal, she was like, one of the girls is gonna go. I just know one of the girls is gonna go. And I was like, Mom, no, Rob's going.
No.
Mark my words. And then he went, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And then my other mom came in, and we're like, Boston Rob got voted out, and she was, said Rob got voted out, and she said, Boston Rob? Oh yes.
You have two moms?
Oh my god.
Oh,
Wait, I forgot. We didn't
That's
talk about one thing.
gay. Oh, God.
We didn't talk about who?
so
We didn't talk about top 10 confessional of all time. Michelle Fitzgerald.
Yes.
She's Wendell sending the "you up" text, and I just want to be like, new season, who did? Why was that not the episode title? Why did they make
Because they gave up. I wish they would go back to the trend of making the episode titles funny. There's not been a funny episode title in years. I hate it. And sometimes they give episode titles to what Jeff says at Tribal, and I'm like, Jeff,
No.
I know you personally. You literally phoned in. You were like, hey, remember when I, said that, Tribal Council is,
I don't want to hear that from you. I feel like you do the same thing.
The last time I remember a good episode.
When? Where?
I feel like you would. Sorry.
No.
God. I think in Edge of Extinction there was an episode title that was literally just titled Awkward.
Wasn't an episode title from last season just YOLO from Kelly?
Wait.
Yeah, it was like YOLO, let's play it. It was something like that.
Oh my god, who fucking names these episodes?
Rick Devens.
With that,
We hate Rick Devens. Add him to the
Now-
list last minute.
now that you have said his name, I am in a bad mood. So
It's time to end.
It's
it
time
is
to
time
end
to
it.
go
end.
because I didn't want to think about that man tonight.
I want to
But
know about Yara
anyway.
Sophie. Oh, it's not over.
Oh my god, it's not over.
It is.
We-
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Don't get corona. Stay healthy.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.